Ange Postecoglou, as I kept saying it in the car, great name, great face, lovely looking man. Austrian fella with a 2-year contract at Tottenham Hotspur, which is quite key. I'm sure we'll get onto it. A little breakdown of what he's done so far in his career. He's won the Austrian title with South Melbourne and Brisbane Roar, weird names. The first ever back-to-back championship in Australian history, not just with Brisbane, but in Australia itself. Went to Yokohama F. Marinos, won the J1 League for the first time. Went to Celtic after that, won back-to-back titles with Celtic, and he's also a treble winner, the first of the one of only 5 managers to ever have done that. He's got the longest unbeaten streak in Australia with 36, and the joint longest unbeaten streak in Celtic's history. I haven't got that stat up to date, but they lost this season. They could have essentially won the. I think it was a winning streak instead of an unbeaten one. But 2-year contract, great name, great face. Charlie, have you got any thoughts on it?
I'm going to be honest. No, not really. I think I know that we were talking a bit before, and I think it's something we're going to come on to. And I have to be honest. I'm not just saying this. I don't really pay much attention to the Scottish League. I think it's a bit of madness. I know we've got a little topic after this. This manager, I'm aware, his name crops up. I think it's like the 10th or 11th news bulletin whenever on like Sky Sports News they talk about the Scottish League. I've seen this guy's name come up. Prerequisite, guys. We are obviously going to talk about
Scotland never do to you.
I'll just be honest. I've seen the guy's name, but I've never really paid attention to him. Obviously, all jokes aside, I'm kind of teeing up a little bit what's going to happen later on in the pod. But in truth, I don't really know about him. I can hold my hands up, and I'm a bit embarrassed to say I'm a bit ignorant when it comes to that. I haven't really looked into the guy. What you reeled off there, Dom, shows that he's obviously got quite a lot of credentials, and he's shown himself to be quite a handy manager. Obviously, as a Spurs fan, that's good news to my ears. I'm happy to hear that. And I'm sure he can. When he comes in, it looks like it's pretty much a done deal now. Hopefully he can change our fortunes around. However, I will be honest. I'm not going to say too much at fear of sounding stupid because I don't really know too much about him. But yeah, overall, let's be honest. We need to right the ship, and anyone. And we've got to take a chance on someone. So if this guy seems to have the right credentials at the time, then yeah, happy days. I'll wait and see. I'll happily eat humble pie when he smashes the Premier League as well as he smashed the Championship. I mean, Scottish League. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly.
Right. Cal, neutral perspective.
You wouldn't think that he's just got a new manager for his football club, would you? Honestly.
Do
you know what?
Years worth of accolades.
But he worked in the SPL, so he's not interested. No, Ange is he's a really popular figure, isn't he? I think everybody, bar Rangers fans, of course, I think everybody who looks at it from afar just has a liking for him because he's very honest, he comes across so well, doesn't he? And I think it's something about being Australian. There's just something likable, isn't there, about the Australian accent and Australian people. But he seems like a no-nonsense coach that cares about his players and likes to bring the fans and the players together in ceremony. I think Simon Jordan on TalkSport this morning compared him actually to Jurgen Klopp in the sense of how he works as a manager coming into a football club, which I've thought for ages that's exactly what Spurs need. They need someone to galvanise and get everybody together in one big group. It doesn't matter where they've managed before. I don't think it's anything to do with what standard of league he's been in before. I know a lot of people will say, oh, this is a big step up. And of course it is. But what Spurs have is a fantastic squad. What they also have is no connection whatsoever. It's the most disjointed club in that top half of the league. And he will come in. He knows how to win. He knows how to play football. Quote me, Celtic fans, some of the best football they've ever seen from Celtic is what a lot of them are saying at this point. It says it's like the good old days, but they're winning the trophies as well. And so, yeah, I think it's a match made in heaven. I've just got this feeling in my stomach that it's going to be something that people look at, laugh at, and then it all comes back in the face. I really think he's going to do really well, genuinely.
When you look at when Poch came in, obviously he came in at Southampton, was at Espanyol before. It worked better for you rather than getting a big manager like Conte, Jose Mourinho, Ryan Mason. It's the first. It's the first permanent manager you've had since March, which seems like an eternity ago. Now thinking of it, that rant he had against Southampton, ironically. I think right now it's just a free hit. It's a free hit for Postecoglou. 2-year deal. Not much going to be. It's not going to be worth much. Free hit for Levy. Free hit for the players. You look at Basuma the last couple of games of the season when he was actually let free. He looked like the best player in Spurs, and he actually showed his worth for once. And it's that worth, isn't it? What is Tottenham worth right now? Because if Kane goes, it's a difficult one, isn't it? And when Cal's speaking about a camaraderie with the fans, the players, and the manager all alike, if he's a manager that can do that, then it seems like a perfect match. And quite frankly, if it's just a season of building something that's with the fans, then that seems like a positive. Because the last few seasons, I know, Charlie, you've been on a lot talking about Spurs, and it's been quite turgid from yourself. I know every time we come on, it's something bad or wrong or poor or boring. You just want fun, surely.
I think we're in a. I think I agree with everything you both just said, by the way, and I do agree. I think that we've said it from day one, and I know that I'm like a broken record, but I'm happy to talk about Spurs because I know it's kind of where my heart is. I think this is definitely the turning of a new chapter because you mentioned about Poch. When Poch came in, Spurs weren't doing great, but then we hadn't really built any sort of excitement or expectation. Now, thanks to Poch, we have. Spurs over the last sort of 5 or 6 years have been, sticking their nose up a little bit and saying, "Come on, we're part of this. We're part of this, group of teams in the Premier League that wants to be up there." And we've been up there. We've done well. I think that I said this. I can't remember which one. I think we talked about this before. Where I said, when Poch originally went, I thought it was the right move. And when we bought in Mourinho, I thought that was the first time Spurs had really bought in a manager of certainly. I mean, of course, years ago they probably did, but in this current sort of era, it was the first time a manager you go, this is a manager. This isn't just some, Spurs have picked someone up. They got Jose Mourinho, and it didn't work. And then they went for Conte. Nuno, I think that's a bit of a bad memory because I don't think that anyone really wanted that. I think he was brought in as a.
Is it even a memory that?
Well, it was certainly. I was going to say it wasn't even a nightmare. It was kind of like
he won like his first 6, didn't he? Didn't he get manager of the month in his first?
He beat
month
City, didn't he?
League? Yeah.
I was at that game. The first game of the season. Yeah, when we beat Son scored. But what I mean is that So I think that right now we did that, and then with Poch. Then we kind of went, okay, let's try and push up more. It didn't really work, and we've dropped a little bit. So now it's kind of like anyone. It's a bit like everyone's a free hit. Now, this guy, obviously, I'm taking the mick a little bit. Obviously, when you read out his credentials, Dom, he is a great manager. I'm listening to Cal, and and if he's got these attributes about bringing players together, I mean, let's be honest. Yes, anyone who's going to come in has to do that. I am going to do some research on him. I am going to because I think that I'll be honest with you. I've been a little bit in the just sort of sitting back with Spurs because I haven't had much, really to scream and shout about. You talk about the Harry Kane situation. Yeah, he might leave, but at the same time, even if he doesn't leave, he still won't be. He probably won't. We might get 3 or 4 more years, maybe, but we still have to look at a life post Harry Kane relatively soon anyway. So it's obviously he's a great player, and we could talk about Harry Kane for a long, long time, but. He might go. I don't blame him for going, and it might leave Spurs looking a bit dire. Forgive the pun, but but this manager's got a job which any manager would have to do. Like Daniel Levy, he was not going to go for another. He wasn't going to go for another big name like your Contes or your Mourinho's, and I think that was clear when he didn't bring in. When he didn't bring them in, I suspect the other managers had, say, the likes of Nagelsmann or anyone like Tuchel, a few others. Tuchel went to Bayern quite quickly, but there was managers of that echelon being talked about. And I think by not bringing those managers in, he clearly thinks that is either we're not ready for it or that's just not what he wants yet. So this manager, maybe, my ignorance is truth, is that I don't know much about him because I haven't really been on the radar for him. However, I'm trusting you guys. He sounds like a really good manager who's got a lot of credentials behind him. Obviously, a little bit of an older manager, which means he'll bring a bit more experience to the fold. And he might, decide to stand up to Daniel Levy and say, "This is my squad," and we need a guy that's going to do that. I mean, I'm not Levy out totally. I'm a reinvent our team. I'm a reinvent our team. I think Levy's been a Spurs fan this whole time. Yes, he's ran the club questionable at times, but I obviously think, I stand by Daniel Levy a little bit, that he's been let down by some people. I know Ryan Mason said that, and I do agree. He's been let down by some people. People have not had the club's best interest at heart. And there's been some poor decisions made. So hopefully with this guy coming in, we can right the ship.
If you like what you've just seen there and you want to see more content like this, make sure you give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter @TalkNonsensePod.